What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we're cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines. And who better to join me today than Aiden? Why don't you say what's up?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Sandwich, where you can tell I'm not AI because I'm half asleep.
Before we get into today's subject matter, we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you guys that are liking these videos, subscribing to Game Sandwich, and if you're new here, do all that in case you want to know. Links to all that is in the video description down below. Look at that. Look at my sick rhymes. And speaking of things that can kind of rhyme better than me, we're here today to talk about a very controversial topic in the world of gaming, especially over the last few years, and that all has to do with AI in gaming. I only bring this up because there was an article posted to Insider Gaming by Andrew Hayden. I highly recommend you go check it out. And the article goes as such. According to Nikkei through Eurogamer and other sources, 51% of companies are using artificial intelligence or generative AI when developing games. This claim stems from a September 25 report that the Computer Entertainment Association kind of whipped up here. Eurogamer says the findings are 54 Japanese game companies, including many industry favorites like Capcom, Konami, From Software, Square Enix, Sega, as well as other small studios, are using this technology. And there's also 32% of companies are using AI to develop their own game engines. This is the core software of their games. Now, I brought that up recently, and then there was the whole thing at the top of the week where EA got bought out by Saudi Arabia and all that. Well, apparently there's another report here saying apparently the people who bought EA think AI can kind of help with this cost-cutting measures. The direct quote from them is, "To manage a large debt load on company that has historically carried limited net debt." So AI in gaming. We've talked about this a lot before, where double-edged sword, in my opinion, where it helps developers with crunch, with a lot of stuff that is just, you can fine-tune with AI. But then we come to this, where it's like, oh, are you using it for dialogue? Are you using it for character creation? Are you using it for X, Y, and Z? Which could take away jobs from what would be developers. Aiden, I know your general opinion on this, but what do you think about all this, hearing it at a quick glance?
I mean, for me, it is always going to be just, if you're going to use AI to completely just create a game and that takes away people's jobs, don't use AI. Same thing with the journalism industry. Like, I know there's a lot of websites that are now just like going, oh, okay, we're going to fire people and just hire, not hire, but going to use AI software instead and just be like, okay, that'll just write things for us because it can scour the internet in the blink of an eye and write it all up. But it takes away the, genuineness of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It makes everything just feel so static and robotic, and it's not good. When it comes to gaming, you shouldn't use any AI to just make an entire game. If you're going to use it in the appropriate sense of helping you finish your art, not create your art.
That is the quintessential quote of the video. I think in a game, and I just thought about this, Starfield, where, they did this ambitious thing where they were like, we're going to make X amount of planets, most you've ever seen in a video game, and every single one of them you can kind of stop at and you can explore. I do think in the world of, if that was just made by regular people, there would be a point where you're like, okay, planet number 7002. Is there anything of substance that can really be on that planet that would be like, oh, the player should go explore here? I don't think so. But, like what you said, let's just say we're at, almost the finish line for Starfield, and they're like, oh, let's just run this through an AI program real quick to be like, oh, let's do the fine-tuning to planet 7002, where it's like, we could add, a complete AI generated story that exists on that planet, or add NPCs that you can have dialogue with that have meaning, or the little Joe Schmo you pass on the street kind of says something that is reactive to what you're doing. I think that is potentially where it is. But then in the same breath, it's like, what would be voice actors? What would be
No, I
programmers?
wouldn't even want the AI to be making a quest there.
Hmm.
Keep AI away from the generation of anything to me. Like, what I'm saying that I want AI for is like, okay, say you're going through the process of putting down various trees on a map.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Use AI to generate all the trees that you've already made. Use it to spread those across the map. There you go. Don't use it for the creationary process of going, oh, okay, I'm just going to create this, like, tree out of thin air. Don't just be like, oh, yeah, I didn't design it. AI designed it. I just took it and put it on the map. Like, then you're just being lazy. Then, no, I don't want this
And
at that point.
and this is where, like, we talked about, like, in our EA discussion video, where it's like, this stuff is just going to happen. And the original Insider Gaming article I referenced from Andrew Heighton, he kind of ends it saying, if you're not a fan of AI, then the future of the games industry just might not be for you. It's faster, easier, and cheaper for companies to develop games using AI, and the opposition isn't strong enough to reverse this process. It's just going to keep happening. And I think that is also the key thing where, like, you and me, we obviously have opposition towards AI and gaming to an extent where it's like, we know the dangers of it, and we know whenever companies get their hands on something like this and they continue to push the envelope, continue to stoke the flame, and see how far they can take it without the opposition, or at least major opposition. Right now, we haven't reached that point. I also do think, in general, in life outside of gaming, and it just kind of falls under this umbrella, AI to us is relatively new. Like, it's not a thing that's been around. Like, we know all the ins and outs. Like, this is still, in longevity, a brand new technology to us that we are still understanding by the day and still refining by the day. And now is just the process of who's really gonna mess up first, who's really gonna kind of storm the path forward in gaming specifically for us, of what's right, what's wrong, what's too much, what's too less. So yeah, this is more of a thing where I'm gonna see it in the coming years and just be like, oh, like, this is the next evolution. And in the case for EA too, to kind of wrap up that little story, don't you think that, like, hey, let's just see how the company does. Like, let's just, before we start axing things, I think we gotta let it breathe and see how it fares for the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want to see how AI develops, I do. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want it to just become too sophisticated and make all of our games for us. Because that's the route that I see it heading. And that's the, like, I see the route of, oh, okay, well, Hollywood's going to use it for movies. And, like, they're also, well, the gaming industry is going to use it for games in order to just, like, create new games in general. And then you're going to, after that, you're going to have people debating whether or not they want to buy this new game because it's AI slop that was thrown together by EA or by Ubisoft or whatever. Because I just imagine they're going to be the first ones using AI, really, to, like, for that full extent. Or, oh, now I have to choose between that or going on Steam and buying a $10, $20 game that was actually made by a small team of people, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be the future choice, and I guarantee you people are always going to choose the one that's made by the people versus an AI program.
And that's my thing too, where I do think the one big thing we're gonna sacrifice, at least up front, is that, for lack of better terms, warm fuzzy feeling whenever it comes to certain quests in games. I was playing Borderlands 4 over the weekend, and I came across this quest where it was like that robotic toilet, the evil one, and, like, Claptrap's madly in love with her. I'm sure you know the names.
Yeah, Genevieve.
Genevieve. And there were some lines
He's from Borderlands 3.
exactly. I forget a lot of this stuff. But this is why you're the Borderlands expert. There's lines of dialogue in that quest that I do think are so well written and funny, where it like made me laugh, and it's like, can AI like do that to that extent? Like, the personality behind it all, like, that will be lost in technology. It's very unless like someone codes something like, hey, here's a personality code. But then again, it's like, it's not genuine. It's not. You just feel something different whenever, like, I've played AI stuff before, and it's like, I know there's something missing here. There's like that secret sauce that humans have, oddly enough, no matter how bad we are. There's a secret sauce to human-made stuff versus AI.
No, yeah, there definitely is, man. Excuse me. But yeah, there's definitely this like difference between AI stuff. I mean, you see it all the time where people easily can just be like, "Oh yeah, that's the AI thing. That's something that's made by a person." Yada yada yada. And you know, you're right with like Borderlands stuff. How like, oh yeah, they have this connection to the old games and everything that just like, and everything feels purposeful. And then whenever you take an AI program and then you tell it to do the same thing, it probably will miss one of those connections, or it'll probably just like gloss over something completely, or just won't do it in the right way. You know, just like won't do it in the way that you would hope that they would, and it would ultimately just fall flat instead. And that's just where I sit with like AI, and I guarantee you that it's probably gonna not get that much better, at least not for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see it get better. Like, I don't. Because, like, I don't want to not be able to tell the difference between something that an AI wrote or, you know, or a human wrote. I don't want to do that.
Did you see the story? I want to say it was last May, because this is Star Wars, where Darth Vader was added to Fortnite, and the voice of James Earl Jones was AI generated, and you can have a conversation with Darth Vader. Did you hear about that story?
No, I did not. But if you're going to get into the voice acting part of it, then I don't really have as big of an issue as it with it as you might think. So, like, in terms of voice acting, I'm just pointing it out here for everybody. I don't care, like, if, say for instance, if James Earl Jones went, like, had a whole thing where he went, hey, sign a contract, you can use my voice, but I'm going to give you X number of voice lines or whatever, and then you can auto generate this number. I'm cool with that. As long as you have like a contract that is just like, hey, you can only use AI to generate this many voice lines, and you are very strict about it. You know, that or AI in my highest hopes, AI would only be used to like smoothen out everything with the voice acting and make it sound better. But that's like, you know, like I can see a world where you can use contracts where it's just like, okay, hey, I give you X number of words or whatever that you can use for AI to generate a couple voice lines, but this contract's for 30 voice lines or something like that, and that's it. Once that 30 is up, you can't use my voice with an AI software again, kind of deal.
So the story there with the Fortnite thing was, as the internet does, they found a way to get the Darth Vader AI program to say certain things, I'm going to leave it at that were not appropriate for the in-game stuff. And obviously when it comes to James Earl Jones's voice, Darth Vader, you see the clips online, that causes a problem. This is exactly what I'm talking about, that we don't have it figured out yet. And that story clearly shows. I mean, recently, and I'm pulling at my random memory here, I believe there was a Tomb Raider remaster, or remake or something, of the first few games on the N64, and the French dubbed voice actor sued the company making the remake because they generated her voice without her permission for a few lines, and fans pointed it out. And that's the other end of the spectrum here, where it's like, that's wrong. Like, that is simply wrong, and you should not do that. So, as you can see, there's a lot wrong here that we need to figure out before we're like, yes, we're definitely going to use this to help make our games better. That's just the nature of technology.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna connect it back to something you had said previously as well. With like AI can be programmed.
Yeah.
Very specifically, it is programmed. It has to learn, and then you can also program it. And I fear that like AI is going to also be used in what I had mentioned in one of our previous videos, especially with like EA or whatever. Whenever you have owners that are specifically like very political leaning and stuff, and they're like, oh, okay, well, say for instance, like you have someone who's like hardcore Democrat or hardcore Republican, doesn't matter, and then they get a hold of this AI, and then they're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make a game, and I'm just going to code it specifically to have like all this underlying messaging or like all of this, like tons of hate speech or anything like that towards anybody, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Like you could use AI for that, and it could just auto be generated, and then just be like, oh, well, no one's at fault because it was an AI that did it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, the company's still at fault.
And to say we're grasping at straws, it's just a dangerous piece of tech right now, and
Yeah.
that we don't fully understand. Like, I don't think there's anyone out there in this world that's like an AI pro that knows the ins and outs. Like, we are still, like, to kind of put a funny spin on it, we are still living in the world where an Ultron-like thing could happen. And I'm just using that as, like, a bit. But we don't understand it fully. And that's just the way it is in gaming, you know? And we just got to see how this pans out. Again, I'm with you on we should be using this to smooth the rough edges of our games and not fully rely on making the substance here. And that would, in theory, help developers and kind of speed things along. So that's all I got to say on AI.
Well, you know what? I'm going to end it too with like, hey, I know AI is new, it's flashy, people enjoy it, people think that's good, but I would be like, I feel like it wouldn't be right if I didn't at least touch on something that I'm at least a little bit passionate about here, which is I hope you realize, and Kevin, I don't know if you even knew about this or in general, but AI is like stupidly bad for the planet as well.
Oh.
Like it releases like a ton of carbon emissions.
Okay.
And just through the process of energy consumption with needing to train it and everything, like having like computers constantly running and everything to like generate electricity for it, it just takes up so much energy that it releases a ton of carbon emissions into the air. And just training AI in general puts more carbon emission into the air than just basically the entire lifetime consumption of carbon emissions from one car. Just training an AI model does that. And like it puts more carbon emissions into the air than like one person's entire life too. People, if you care about the environment too, that's another reason why you should limit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a thing that we need to fully understand. But this is where we're going to pass it off to you guys. What do you think about AI in gaming? Good, bad, in the middle, don't fully understand, fully understand? Let us know in the comments down below. But as of this episode of Community Kitchen, we hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want more gaming content just like this, keep it locked to Game Sandwich for all your gaming news, rumors, and reviews. I've been Kalo, and I'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.